Hi, and welcome to another edition of ROX TV Talks. And I've got a very special guest with me this week, none other than Crusher Jewel, aka Stephen Jewel. Who he hates that name, so I won't use it. Crusher is a legend amongst rock and metal fans. He first came into public attention in 1982 when he became the art director of the Bible of Heavy Metal, Kerrang! That magazine certainly needs no introduction. He went from strength to strength from there, designing album covers, single design covers, and even worked on the promotional posters for Monsters of Rock. So he has a great pedigree. He also has done TV on Raw Power, and he presented St. Monsters of Rock Festival as well. And he has a reputation for speaking his mind, and over the years he certainly has done. So it's my great pleasure to introduce you to Crusher Jewel.
Yeah. For an interview. That's brilliant. Thank you so much, Crusher. So you told me via email that you're going to start treatment for prostate cancer.
Yeah, that's in February. Well, I've already started treatment. I'm having hormone injections.
Right.
But I'll start the actual radiotherapy in. I'll go for the preliminary treatment at the end of February, and I'll start the 7 weeks treatment in March.
Oh, I do wish it all goes well for you. I sincerely do.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, you are another one of those legends.
It's treatable, so hopefully.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah, and you keep a positive attitude, and you'll come through the other end.
Yeah.
As I said, I mean, you are one of those. It's like a group of 5 of you, wasn't there? The ultimate living legends for us rock journalists. You and Malcolm Down, bless his heart, and Mick Wall, and Jeff Barton. You're one of those names that when people like me talk about rock journalists, everybody says Crusher Jewel.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, that must fill you with a great deal of pride. I mean, you've left a hell of a legacy.
Yeah, I have. But in all honesty, I wasn't really a journalist. I was the art director of Kerrang! But those people do come as I did write the odd. I think I only ever wrote one interview, but I wrote a few album reviews and a few live reviews and a few video reviews and stuff like that. But I mean, mostly it was just the artwork that I did at Kerrang! And I think I did. I think I did an interview with the Black Crows for Metal Hammer when I worked for Metal Hammer. But yeah, I mean, basically, I'm honoured to be called a journalist, but I'm not. I'm an artist.
That's just your foremost talent, and what a talent it is. I mean, I could list a list as long as my arm of the albums that you've worked on in the past. I mean, one of my all-time favourites, Iron Maiden's Live After Death.
Yeah.
What an album cover. Did the band ask you to just have free reign on it, or?
And I didn't paint the picture. That was Derek Riggs.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, no, the actual, it's like all the pictures, all the photographs. I chose all the photos and how they were laid out, and on the inner sleeve, I think there's like 55 pictures on each of the inner sleeves, and where the lyrics went. And then there was if you had the vinyl version, you had I think it was a 12-page booklet or a 16-page booklet.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, I did all of that, but it was Derek Riggs who did the painting. But yeah, basically they gave me the words that they wanted to go on. They gave me a lot of transparencies to look through, and yeah, basically I did have free reign of what I chose, where it went, and all of that. Yeah.
You did an amazing job of capturing that live album feel. You know what I mean? I mean, it was an amazing tour that Iron Maiden did, and you kind of captured. You could almost have been there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I think I think it was Ross Alford who took all the photographs, but I just sat in well, it was at Rod Smallwood's house in Los Angeles, which used to be Jimmy Cagney's old house, and I was in Jimmy Cagney's daughter's bedroom
Wow.
on her original four-poster bed, just going through thousands of slides, picking which ones I thought were good and which we might use. And then when I got those chosen, I came back to the UK and started the proper layout.
Which would you say was your favourite of the albums that you worked on?
I said, well, I don't really have. I mean, the one that I didn't want to do was the Black Sabbath Born Again.
I was going to bring it up.
Which has become like an iconic cover. And I like it now. I love it now, actually.
To be honest, so do I. I just think it stands out amongst the collection.
But yeah, no, it wasn't. It was because of the manager, Don Arden, that was the reason I didn't want to do it, because he threatened to shoot my dog at the meeting.
Oh, charming.
Yeah, well, he was a charming man. I decided I wasn't going to do it and just came up with the worst idea ever. And they loved it.
Oh yeah, I know you say you're not a journalist, but certainly from a video point of view and a radio point of view, as a presenter, you really made your mark. Yeah. One particular period that really sticks in my mind was your work on the Power Hour on ITV. I mean, that was brilliant.
Well, it was Power Hour, which then became Raw Power.
That's right, yeah.
Became Noisy Mothers. But yeah, I did a few of Power Hour, and then when it became Raw Power, that's when, unfortunately, they teamed up with Raw magazine, and because I worked for Kerrang magazine, it was politically incorrect to have me on there, so they got Phil Alexander in. But I did when he actually left Raw or Raw folded, I can't remember whatever it is, and he went to become editor of Kerrang. I was asked back to do the last few Raw Powers, and then when that finished, we just went straight into Noisy Mothers.
Was it as anarchic as it came across?
It was good fun. I mean, I don't remember much about it because I was off my face most of the time.
That's a sign of the 80s.
Yeah, but even though I was off my face, they used to call me the one take wonder, because when I was doing the Cosmic Couch, it would usually be done in one take. We didn't have to do it again. So I knew what I was doing, even though I was off my face.
Yeah, you used to come across. I mean, it was so funny the way you'd hold up an album with you tend to get some reviewers who hold a thing up with almost like it's a reverent Bible, and you'd hold it up as if to say, and well, there you go, and you throw it over your shoulder, and it was so brilliant to watch. I've got to say.
Thank you.
And then you went to work with Monsters of Rock, didn't you? You was in.
Yeah,
worked on the posters and
let me think. It was I think 94, 95, 96 that the last three before it became Download.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy those?
Yeah, it was great fun. Yeah, I loved it. Yeah, absolutely. It was that was a real blast doing those. Yeah.
How did you feel when they said there was going to be no more Monsters of Rock and it was going to become Download?
Oh, I was pissed off, absolutely pissed off, because I knew they wouldn't give me a job. for whatever political reasons. And to be honest, I mean, there's a really expensive book you can buy, which is supposedly the history of monsters of rock, which I seem to have been completely written out of.
Oh, that's not on.
No, it's not on. It's a fucking disgrace, to be quite honest.
It is, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's ridiculously expensive book, so I won't even buy it. But I know people who have, and I've said, do they actually mention me? And it's like, no, you're not mentioned at all.
Well, on a side note to that, coming up to this year's download to mark the sort of it coming round, ROX Network are going to be doing a feature on the good old days of download and the official Monsters of Rock before it became download.
Right.
So if you love to have your say, and we would dearly love you to have your say, do you want to come back on the show and have your say on the matter?
Well, let me think about it, because no, I mean, I don't really have a lot good to well.
It doesn't matter whether it's good or bad. It's your memories.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I have good memories of Monsters of Rock. I just pissed off that they've written me out of the history of Monsters of Rock, and I don't have much to say about download.
No, many people don't.
Well, that's people go. So it's a very, I love Andy Coppin, the guy who runs it, but I'm just not keen fan of watching 300 bands over whatever many days it is, and how many stages there are. I mean, that's why I love Stone Dead Festival, because it's one day, and one lineup and one fantastic.
Talking of rock music, what do you think about the current state of rock and metal?
To be honest, I don't even listen to it anymore.
No.
I mean, the last Cats in Space sent me a CD which I loved, but a lot of people do send me CDs, but I listen to about 20 seconds of it. It's like, fuck me, I've heard that all before. I'm afraid I'm very dismissive. I'm a bit of a Simon Cowell when it comes to that sort of stuff now. Just because I've heard it all before, and I haven't really seen anything that really tickles my. No, I love Evil Scarecrow. I love Evil Scarecrow, but I just don't. I mean, I don't buy the magazines anymore. I don't go. I don't listen to rock stations, and I listen to classical music or rock music and music from the late 60s.
Yeah. I think you find that, don't you, as you get older, you tend to go further back in time rather than be interested in what's hot now. It's more, I mean, where did rock come from?
Yeah, I'm absolutely positive there are some fantastic bands out there, and I wish them all the best of luck, because it's a fucking brutal business, the music industry. But as I say, I don't. Oh yeah, a friend of mine, Howard Johnson, used to be a journalist at Kerrang. He sent me his latest CD. It's a band called Dawn After Dark.
Yeah,
sound very much like the Cult, to be honest. But I listen to that in the car, and it's like, yeah, that's a good album. But again, it's not anything new. It's nothing that I've not heard before, but it's done very well. It's like Cats in. I love Cats in Space. I mean, they just steal from everybody, but they have an absolutely brilliant way of putting it all back together. And you might go, oh yeah, that's a bit like that. That's a bit like that. But they're brilliant. Cats in Space. I love them. But I mean, obviously, I loved all the heavy. I mean, Cats in Space were amazed that when I contact them to say I loved it, and they were like, "God, we thought you were like Pantera and Slayer and death metal." Well, yeah, I used to be, but It's
Mellowed.
well, Slayer have finished, Pantera
Yeah.
finished. You know, I'll go to Bloodstock to watch Phil Anselmo and the Illegals, but yeah, you know, as I say, Devil Driver. I love Devil Driver, but you know, I've seen it all. I've been there. I've done it.
Yeah. Yeah. You certainly
Not
have.
big-headed, but unfortunately, it's true. Oh no,
It is true, and it's not being big-headed at all. I mean, you were around at the absolute heyday of you know, the golden era, if you like, of rock. You're probably going to disagree there and say, well, no, the
well, no,
60s, 70s, but
yeah, yeah. Well, actually, I mean, you know, I was old enough to be. I was 15, 69, and that's when I started going to see bands. You know, and I saw, you know, I saw all of them. Sabbath, Yes. I mean, you name them. I saw them. You know, 69, 70. All apart from Led Zeppelin. I saw the very last Led Zeppelin uh, shows at Nebworth. But you know, in the late 60s, early 70s, that was the foundation of my love of all things rock. And I mean, even the 70s, there was some amazing stuff. But yeah, I mean, the late 70s or the early 80s to sort of the end of the 80s, yeah, that was an incredible period of creativity as far as rock music and metal music was concerned.
yeah, I mean, I was talking to Mick Wall just before Christmas, and he was saying how he absolutely relished the whole sex and drugs and rock and roll and all the rest of it, and he said, I've got no qualms about it. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, God, I mean, I used to hang around with Mick, and Jesus Christ, it was all sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And I actually, from 85 to 95, again, I don't really remember much of it because it was just so hectic. Not just having a good time, but actually work wise as well. And my memories of that are very, very few.
Yeah. What do you think about how the media is now? I mean, back then we got loads of rock and metal magazines. We got heavy metal and rock being played on mainstream TV. How do you feel about the way it's gone now?
Well, as I say, I don't actually read any of the magazine.
Mm.
I don't watch any of the. I don't. You know, I'm, I don't know anything about the media of rock,
That's fair enough. Yeah, I mean, it's
and I'm not
yeah,
interested either, to be honest.
that's fine. Yeah, I mean, it's just
There's a lot of people seem to be doing podcasts and stuff like that.
it's just seemed to be the way. I mean, we've moved almost entirely digital because nobody reads magazines anymore. So,
No,
which is a shame. I think when people bought a copy of Kerrang or Metal Hammer, and you know, they looked at it and the posters was free inside every month, and the posters on the walls, and
yeah, they were you know, they were great magazines and they served
mm,
a purpose. But sadly, I mean, Kerrang's a pile of shit these days.
it
So
certainly is.
I don't know what the hell. I mean, Metal Hammer used to be a great magazine, but I haven't seen it for a long, long time.
You really haven't missed
Uh,
anything.
Alexander Milas turned it round, but then he left, and I haven't really seen anything since. But yeah, I mean, you know, the media, I'm not really interested in it. And you know, I mean, Planet Rock, you know, I don't really have much respect for them.
They do seem to have their pet bands.
Yeah, they do have their pet bands, and they're also, you know, they great haters of bands like Cats in Space, who they should be supporting.
Mm,
And
absolutely.
they just seem to have the same fucking playlist over and over and over again. And yeah, no, fuck them.
Well said, Crusher. Well
Yeah,
said. You haven't lost your sharp tongue.
well, no, you know, they never did me any fucking favours, so I certainly won't do them any fucking.
Before you go, Crush, is there any advice you'd like to give any young up and coming artists and people who want to get into the music business,
Yes,
other than
do
don't?
it.
Yeah, I thought you was going to say that.
Proper job. Get your haircut, get a fucking proper job. You know. But no, if you, I mean, to any band that's starting, I'd just say, I mean, if you're wanting to have success, get yourself a fucking good lawyer, because you're going to need it, and be very wary of anything that's put in front of you to sign. Make a lawyer read it before you sign it, and practice hard, and keep on doing it, and one day you will be walking out in front of 85,000 people telling them to shout fuck the Queen.
You certainly did that.
I did in America.
Oh well, you never know. You might still get a chance to do it here.
No, I used to not have much respect for the Queen, but I mean, she's 95. You've got to give her a bit of respect.
Yeah, fair comment.
It's a family that lets her down.
Yeah, well, we won't mention the incident. Is there anything you'd like to say to many people out there that love and adore you, Crusher?
Well, hang on, there's bloody.
Oh, someone's doing toast.
Yeah, a quick one. Rock up, rock heavy, rock out.
Thanks a lot, Crusher.
Okay. Is that your
Best of luck with you. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Bye. Thank you.
My name is Stephen George from the fucking KRUSHER, and I say, rock hard, rock heavy, rock fucking animal, 1 in 10 fucking rock. Yes! Woo!
Broogies, boozers, strumpets, losers, cosmic couch potatoes, welcome to KRUSHER's Cosmos. Some of you might think it's a blackjack table, some of you might be right. It's the Megadeth Bash. We are gambling. I think I'm about to win. And here's Nigel from the Choir Boys. Also gambling and drinking, very bad things. Nigel, how's the album going?
Well, it's better than the betting, I must say. No, it's going good. We just finished it.
Finished?
I know. It has been taking quite a long time, I must admit, but it's finally finished. So.
And why has it taken so long? If I might be so bold as to ask.
Apart from having to record it in about 3 different continents, due to no fault of our own, we just changed management as well, and that didn't help. And now we've just finally sorted it out, and it's finally finished.
Remixed, I believe.
Remixed as well, yeah, had to remix it, yeah. So,
taken a while.
Taken a while, I must admit.
And
would it be worth it?
Oh, well worth going into mummy's purse, getting all those crinkly bits of paper. I'm
doing some gambling and getting the money. That's what we're trying to do.
When are we going to see you over here again?
We're going to start doing some club shows in about August.
August?
Yeah, with the album to follow after that.
And double result. Anything else?
You run out of questions.
Well, I have to be quite honest. So I think it's probably time that I took my winnings and we saw the Choir Boys at 7 o'clock.
As they say, with some great songs. The sun is shining in the sky. There ain't a cloud in sight. And it's a wonderful weekend. And I have Mr. Crusher Jewel. Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
I'm very well, Adam. Thank you very much for having me here.
You're very, very welcome. Welcome to Stone Deaf 2019. Last year you were here.
I was indeed.
How did you feel about that? What a great festival it was.
I wish I could remember. No, it was a great festival. It was, I mean, for the first time as well, it was outstanding. I mean, everything about it was just incredible. The bands, the weather, the whole atmosphere backstage, and out front as well. It really was harking back to the good old days of how rock festivals used to be, and I was so pleased for Chris and the team and the volunteers that they pulled it off, because it's on paper it looks pretty easy, but to actually get the finished product down and done, hats off. If I was wearing one.
If we were, well, I am. I've got one on right now because the sun is absolutely belting out here. And of course, we're looking forward to tomorrow.
Yes.
With the lineup that we've got. Obviously, Glenn Hughes headlining. It's going to be a very special weekend this weekend. What are you in particular looking forward to most of all?
I'm looking forward to seeing quite a few of the bands that I've not seen on before. I've not seen Inglorious. I've seen the Amorettes. Saw the Amorettes play in Ibiza actually, under incredibly difficult circumstances. It was in a club, and the temperature was like this in the club, and I can't remember her name. I don't think she's now with them, but the drummer, I mean, she virtually passed out during the set, and we had to stop the set, get her outside, get some fresh air, and then she came in back like a trooper and finished the set. Yeah, great band. I'm looking forward to seeing my old mate Phil Campbell,
of course,
who I've not seen for quite a while. In fact, I don't think I've had a chance to talk to Phil since Lemmy died, to be quite honest, so that's going to be a strange one, but I always love seeing his bastard sons as well. And Glenn, I'm really looking forward to seeing Glenn again. I haven't seen Glenn, well, I know that we filmed him for Noisy Mothers at the Bristol Beer Keller many years ago, but what I remember about Glenn was, I can't remember which year it was, but it was a Monsters of Rock, and I think I was emceeing it. I might not even been emceeing it, but I'd given up alcohol, which I gave up for 2 years, and Glenn, who I'd never met before in my life, came over and introduced himself and congratulated me on giving up, and because obviously he's had his problems in the past, he offered me so much support and so much help, and he was just such an inspiration. When you're at the beginning of giving up drinking, which I was, and especially at Monsters of Rock, it's a difficult situation.
Absolutely.
And he was just such a diamond geezer, and I've never forgotten that. And as I say, I was someone out of the blue. He obviously did know who I had, and he'd heard, but for him to come over and offer his support was incredible.
He seems to be a man of great energy, I feel.
Yes.
Glenn Hughes, great positive light in the world, and hopefully, well, he will tomorrow, I'm sure, bring that energy to Stone Deaf. Absolutely.
No, he is a very positive person. I know one of his crew, a lady called Ildiko, I think she does his merch. I saw her a while back, and she was telling me, what an incredible person he is to work with. And I can imagine that he is, to be quite honest. But I'm really looking forward to a Deep Purple set, because Deep Purple were one of the first bands that I saw. Admittedly not with Glenn when I first saw them, which was in, I think, 1970, or it might be 1969, at Malvern Winter Gardens. And they just blew me away. It was one of those life-changing moments where you kind of like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to be in the music industry.
It was a definitive moment for you.
Yeah. Along with that, and there was a Black Sabbath played a couple of months after, and those two gigs were the ones that it's like, I don't know what I'm going to do in the music industry, but that's what I want to be part of.
One of those definitive moments. And it's funny you should say that, because last year for me was Skid Row.
Oh,
Great set from Skid Row last year. Very, very special. And I remember a definitive moment for me was being 14 years old at Wembley Stadium, watching them supporting Guns N' Roses.
Yes, I was.
And that was the moment that I wanted to be doing what I'm doing. So for you, that Deep Purple moment must have been so special.
And that's where I believe Sebastian had been told not to swear.
By Brent Council.
Yeah.
That was the one, yes.
Yeah, I believe he did.
I believe he did, yes, that is correct. Now, festivals, you've attended many over the year, but for more relevant now, this particular festival itself, Stone Deaf, how do you feel that it listens to its audience and delivers on what it promises to do? That, do you think that it's very alike from the festivals of old? Is that what you think?
What, similar to the festivals of
yes.
old? Absolutely. I mean, as I was saying, a lot of the bands, we were talking backstage last year, saying, do you remember how this is how festivals used to be backstage? You know, a great atmosphere, none of this, security guards everywhere, and have you got the right pass? And it was like, in the good old days, the backstage and the hospitality areas at Monsters of Rock that was quite a party.
I can well imagine.
It was quite a party. But yeah, as you say, Stone Deaf do take notice of their audience, and I don't think many festivals do these days. Bloodstock does. They're another great festival. But I think it's very important to take notice of what your audience wants. And
And what do you think the future holds for festivals like Stone Deaf, in terms of moving forward with the fast pace of the way that the world is now? Like you say, a lot of these big commercial festivals have an awful lot of passes and different, and so on and so forth.
And stages,
of course.
Yeah.
And here, very, very special, we've got one stage. It's
beautiful.
A perfect setting, yeah?
It's a beautiful thing having one stage. I hated it when they brought in the second stage at Monsters of Rock. It just didn't make sense to me. And I kind of saw the decline coming from then onwards. One stage, 6, 7 bands, bring your beer, stand there, get pissed, stone, and rock out. That's what it was all about, Have a party on Saturday night, go home with a hangover from hell on Sunday. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like a perfect weekend.
Absolutely.
And we're looking forward to this weekend, aren't we?
Brilliant. Oh, definitely. Most definitely.
Super.
Yes.
Well, Crusher, thank you very much for joining us here. It's been an absolute pleasure meeting you. And obviously, we'll see you out there over this weekend. Thank you very much.
Where I will be rocking hard,
as
rocking
we
heavy,
all will be. I think
and rocking animal.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. Cheers.
Okay, mate.
Thank you.
Pleasure, Adam.
Ozzy Osbourne, personal friend of mine and rock and roll superstar. That's his new single, The Ultimate Sin. Speaking of rock and roll superstars, I've got another one here in his rock and roll hat, Crusher Jewel, design artist extraordinaire. Listen, can I ask you briefly, what's the first thing you do when you're trying to dream up images for a design of an album or a tour program?
The first thing I do is I get a bottle of the old artiste's devil juice.
That's essential,
I take
of course.
an essential
one of those
swig from it.
Right.
Try one yourself.
No,
later.
well, no, I'm not an artist. I might.
But the colours come. The colours come
immediately. Could you? I'm sorry to interrupt, but
no.
could you please, very briefly, show us through some of your early artwork? What's this you've got here?
Well, this isn't very early. Apparently, I did this for some.
The early stages of your artwork, I should say.
This is a book cover. Ozzy Osbourne, Diary of a Madman. Apparently written by Mick Wall. I can't understand it. But you get all these pieces,
images,
stick them down. Oh, I have to design them, obviously, but stick them down, and then you put this piece of tracing paper over the top, and write intricate instructions to the printer saying how much you love them.
And then what happens after this?
After this is the magic. The magic. It turns out.
How
like
very,
this.
Very nice. And how long would it take you to design a book cover like that, as compared to something like the Live After Death album?
This would take me about 5 days.
And what about something like Live After Death?
Live
the
After
album,
Death,
which you did, very famous piece of yours.
Would take me about a month.
A month?
A month, because it's so intricate, like 55 shots on each thing.
All right, Steve.
And
all right, Crusher. Well, look, I tell you what. Let's rock out again. This is Iron Maiden and Run to the Hills. A lovely Anita with the hideous Crusher. I mean, what do you think of... What do you... Well, he is, isn't he? Look at
Sounds
it.
like garlic.
What do you think of all this, Anita? I mean, does this impress you, this sort of stuff? The heavy metal design?
It's sort of, I find, evil life after death. I don't think I want to be reincarnated.
What, if you look like that?
Yeah, exactly.
Thank goodness Derek Riggs did it.
I want to ask you something, Mr. Raccoon Man.
Yes.
Have you always done this type of stuff? I mean, do you venture out into the big bad world of other music?
I did a Japan album cover, Tin Drum.
Wow, I remember that one.
Yeah, really impressed. Yeah, we all remember that one, yeah.
Well, it was the only big seller for them. But, no.
You never harboured any desires to
If
work
it isn't loud, I won't do it.
Sort of sums up the man, doesn't it?
All right, OK, I think we've had just about enough of you, Crusher Jewel. Have back your devil juice.
No.
Thank you very much for bringing your absolutely tremendous designs
It's cost
on.
mixture, really, isn't it?
And I think we should get back to
heavy.
rocking before he collapses completely. This is Black Sabbath and No Stranger to Love.
Shut up and sit down.